Hello, I'm Safi. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my new video. Today, I'm filming my first ever proper book haul, and I've gathered all of the books that I have acquired since my birthday in October up to Christmas. It's a little bit more than 20 physical books, and then there's also a few on my Kindle. Let's just start with those that I've already read, and I won't go into any of the synopsis for these books, otherwise we would be here for a very long time. So let's just start with a couple of the books that I've read. I've already shown this in a vlog, but I've acquired a beautiful edition of The Exorcist while I was in Sweden with my best friend. I mean, it's beautiful. I already have a different edition of The Exorcist, but it's just the screenplay. I thought, well, I need a proper edition of it. But I have already read it, not this edition specifically, I read it on my Kindle, but I just wanted to have it on my shelves because it's just so stunning. So the next book is Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito. I've also already read this. I've read all of Junji Ito's books that have been translated to a language I understand. I just am trying to collect all of them because I read copies from the library. So this is my latest addition to my bookshelf and I love it so much. This copy is just so stunning. I don't know if you can see, but there's like stuff printed on the cover and it's beautiful. I love Junji Ito so much. Then next I have Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert, which I do regret buying. As a matter of fact, I bought it in October and now I'm trying to sell it. So if you're interested, yeah, no, but I hated this book and I want it gone. Then I've got So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison, which was a 4-star. I really enjoyed this. I read it for my Goodreads Choice of Words vlog. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. And yeah, I'm happy I got a physical copy of this because I really enjoyed this book. And then another book that I read for the Goodreads Choice of Words vlog is The Book of Witching by CJ Cook. This one was a 4.75 stars. I loved this book. It did not make my top 10 of the year by this much, but I still really loved it and definitely a book I would recommend for winter. And then we've got All the Hearts You Eat by Hailey Piper. I'm currently reading this. I'm not very far into it, so I really don't have any thoughts yet, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. I've enjoyed all of Hailey Piper's books that I have read before, so why not? I think this has vampires, maybe, and ghosts. Maybe not vampires, but it definitely has ghosts and it should have some occult stuff. And I'm all in for occult horror. Let's move on to the ones I haven't read yet. And the first one is She's Always Hungry by Eliza Clark. I'm planning on reading this. Maybe by the time you see this video, I might already have read this, hopefully. But this is Eliza Clark's latest short story collection and I love this cover. I can't wait to get to this. Then we've got an extreme horror. Actually, I got If You Died Tomorrow, I Would Eat Your Corpse by Rath James White. I've read The Ecstasy of Agony by Rath James White and I enjoyed it a lot. So I thought I would give a try to some of his other works. And this one was so just stunning and I love the title, so I would usually get them on my Kindle, but I just wanted to have a physical copy of this because I just love the way this looks. This is also extreme horror. It's also a mix of poetry and prose. So then next we have some, I think this is romantasy of sort, a dark fantasy romance type book. This is Angels Before Man by Rafael Nicolas, and it's a queer retelling of The Fall of Satan. I am extremely curious about this. I think I'm gonna love it a lot. And this cover is so stunning. I'm so excited to read this. There's also a few illustrations inside. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Then we've got another queer romantasy, because that's the type of romantasy I like to read. We've got The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. And what do you want me to say? With a cover like that, it's also a fantasy romance and it's between this dude and an orc. And that's all I need to know about it. So it looks like it's going to be really sweet. I've heard it's also kind of spicy, so I hope it will be. I don't read a ton of fantasy romance, but when I do, I make sure it's queer. Most of the time, at least. Speaking of, I also have Hyacinth by Elle Porter. I've heard such good things about this, and it's also some kind of fantasy romance, maybe a bit more on the dark side. But I love this cover, and it's so short. It's a tiny book. I would normally also get this on the Kindle because I think it's like really cheap on the Kindle, but I just wanted a physical copy of this because it is too pretty not to own. And I mean, even the back is so pretty. So yeah, I'm really happy I got this. Hopefully I'll love it too. Moving on, I bought Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones when I was in Stockholm. I don't have the best of relationships with Stephen Graham Jones books, but I just wanted to try this one because it looks a little different from the others that I've read by him, and I want to love Stephen Graham Jones. So I keep trying, and so far it hasn't gone particularly well, but I'm confident that I will find a Stephen Graham Jones that I love. So yeah, this is also a horror novella. As you can see, it's also very short. I thought, oh, well, I might just as well. Apparently it's literary horror about race and America, deeply rooted in the contemporary Native American experience. So it sounded extremely interesting. Then another short book that I got, I love novellas, by the way. So if I find something that's even just slightly intriguing and it's a novella, I will be tempted to buy it, especially if it's horror. And this is In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. So yeah, no particular reason why I got this other than it's short. It's apparently some kind of fairy tale-esque horror story. Kayla from Books and Lala really likes it apparently. So that convinced me, and also I really love this cover too. So another short horror. We have a theme here maybe, but I bought When the Reckoning Comes by Latanya McQueen. I also got this because it's a short horror. I think it might be a bit historical, Southern Gothic. There's supposed to be ghosts. I just heard some really good things about it, and I wanted to see for myself. Then we've got another short book that isn't horror for once. This is By Night in Chile by Roberto Bolaño, and I also bought this in Sweden while I was on my little trip. No other reason other that I really was gripped by the cover. I just want to try something by this author. So I found this. It's short. It has such a pretty cover. I bought it. I caved and got it. And then I saw that the text is like, it's literally a wall of text. So I don't know. I might have to try it before I say that I regret getting this edition, but yeah, I'll see when I have enough mental energy to read some literary historical fiction, then I will try this. So next we've got yet another short book. Are we surprised? Not me. This is Nails and Eyes by Kaori Fujino. What do you want me to say? It's short. And it's some kind of also literary fiction, maybe with a little bit of horror in it. It's translated by Kendall Heitzman. So I love short translated fiction. I'm really into also Japanese fiction. I find it extremely interesting. And so when I see a short book that's been translated from the Japanese, I usually grab it. This one, of course, also sounded really good. It's apparently really disturbing and there's a creeping tension. So I can't wait to get to this. Then another horror book that I recently got, but it isn't a recent book, is Hell House by Richard Matheson. I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname, but anyways, This is a bit of a classic horror novel. I've recently started reading some of the older horror that came out in the 70s and 80s, sometimes even before. I just really want to try this one because, well, I love the cover and I've heard great things about it and I want to know why it's a classic. So yeah, I think this is also like a typical haunted house story, but I have no idea. I only bought it because I know it's classic. I've heard great things about it. Grady Hendrix talks about it in his Paperbacks from Hell. And I will pretty much trust anything that Grady Hendrix says. Then I have also purchased 3 Hong Kong books. I've got Human Acts, The White Book, and The Vegetarian, because I really want to read something by Hong Kong. I have never read anything by her before. And I saw these beautiful editions. I thought, well, that's the sign that I need to read Hong Kong. Not that she won the Nobel Prize, no, that I found these editions. But yeah, anyways, I'm thinking of doing maybe a little vlog where I just read all 3. Let me know if that would be something that you'd be interested in. I am extremely curious about these, especially about the vegetarian. Oh wow, I haven't even removed the price tags from these yet. I can't wait to dive in and like, they are also so pretty. I'm 100% sure I'm going to love all 3 of them. Another book that I got back in October for my birthday is The Bug Wife by Kay Cronister. I was going to read this for the Goodreads Choice Awards vlog, but the problem is that this either doesn't have an audiobook or the audiobook is entirely unavailable to me here in Europe. I tried to get hold of it any way I could, and I just could not find anywhere where they would sell that audiobook to me. So I unfortunately did not get to this book. I will maybe in the future, especially if the audiobook becomes available. But right now, I'm not in a mental space where I can just read a book physically without having the audiobook support. I will pick it up at some point in the future. I will maybe attempt this when I am in a bit of a better mental space than I am now, when I am able to read books physically without getting distracted every 0.1 seconds. So yeah, also I hate this cover. I should have just bought the American one because this one is giving nothing. It's awful. It's not giving horror, is it? Especially not gothic. What were they thinking when they made this cover? It's terrible. Another backlist book that I've been wanting to read for such a long time is Brother by Anya Alborn. I've heard such unhinged reviews of this book. I'm not even going to say good. There's a lot of people, as far as I've heard, that really don't like this book. And then there's those that love it and that say that it's one of their favorite books of all time and that it's so messed up. So yeah, anytime somebody says that a book is extremely messed up, I will want to pick it up. Yeah, I can't wait to read this. I've read another book by Anya Alborn. I think it was called The Seed, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like I am missing out by not reading this, but unfortunately, this is also a book that doesn't have an audiobook. Like, I don't think this one does at all. Or if it does, I haven't been able to find it anywhere. So let me know if you know if it has an audiobook or not. But once again, I will read it when I can read books again without getting distracted. So we have some more horror. Pimple by Dayton Auerbach. And well, this is a short story collection that I have been looking forward to for quite a while now. It's another backlist horror book, and I've heard it's actually really scary. I really don't tend to get scared while reading horror. I tend to get very scared when watching horror movies, but reading just doesn't manage to scare me in the same way. So I'm hoping that this one will achieve that. I've been looking for a proper horror book that will scare the shit out of me for a while now. I'm hoping this is it. So then lastly, for as far as physical books, I've got Bound in Blood, which is an anthology. Stories of cursed books, damned libraries, and unearthly authors. That alone sounded interesting enough. And then I saw that Eric LaRocca himself has a story in here. And that sold me on it. So yeah, I don't know that many of the other authors. I know I've read a book by Elizabeth Hand before. I've heard of Adam Cesar, but I don't think I've heard of any of the others. Maybe I will find some authors in here that I will want to check out. That's what anthologies are really good for, and I'm hoping this will be really good. Although the average rating for this is really low. I'm a little bit worried about it. I hope that everybody who gave this a low rating is wrong and that I'm going to love this. So yeah, another book that I actually own a physical copy of, but I have lent it to a friend, that I have hauled recently is American Rapture by CJ Leede. As I said, I've lent it to a friend, so I don't have my physical copy to hold, but I read it and I've loved it, so I don't regret buying it, even though I had to get it shipped from the US because it's not available here yet. Maybe it will be in the future. So let's move on to the few books, because they aren't really that many, but I've gotten a few new books on my Kindle that I wanted to at least mention. One of them that I've read is Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. I read it was in November, and I loved it. I gave it 4.75 stars, I think. Wow, what a novella. It was unhinged and so fun. It was so much fun. I would definitely recommend picking it up if you're looking for a fun, gory horror novella that goes to places that you will not expect. I promise, you cannot see it coming. I actually found a couple more physical books that I had forgotten because they were over there in the graphic novels and I didn't look there when I was gathering the books for this book haul. So one of them that I have actually already shown a few times is Us by Sara Soler, which I'm planning on reading in December. Maybe I'll have already read it by now, by the time you're seeing this. Yeah, this is a cute little graphic novel romance, and it's also queer. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. I also bought this in Stockholm. I just saw this cover and I was like, mine. I need it right now. And then the other graphic novel that I got is a little weird. It's Coach Leah and Eustakia, I don't know, but by Hans Rickhart. And okay, so I got this because back when I was probably like 13 or 14, I read this online. I was already into really weird, messed up stuff back then. I loved horror already as a teenager, and this is very fucked up. This is pretty messed up as far as I remember. Yeah, I mean, that's the back. So, yeah, you can imagine. Let me see if I can find something. Yeah, no, I don't know how much of this I can show. Yeah, I read it back then, and then recently I just thought about it again, and I was like, I wonder if I could get hold of a physical copy of it. And so I did. Because I want to reread it, and I wanted to have a physical copy to do that. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's also horror. It's really weird. I think that back in the days I loved it so much because reading this or seeing these pictures almost looked like reading a graphic novel based on a music video by Tool. I don't know if y'all know any Tool songs or if you've ever watched a music video by them. They are so gross and so weird, most of them. And this book really reminded me of that, and Tool are my favorite band. So I guess I will let you know what I think about this when I get to it and reread it. Moving on with the Kindle books that I got. As I said, they aren't that many, but another extreme horror book that I got on my Kindle recently and that I haven't read yet is The Bug Collector by Rath James White. And I've also heard that this is extremely gross and messed up. And I can't wait to read it. So yeah, I have no idea what it's about apart from the fact that it's another extreme horror by Rath James White. So that's already a guarantee for me that it will be good. And then I also got this ebook called Valorine the Fair which is apparently some sort of, I don't remember if it's a novella or a full-length novel. It's another fancy romance, and it's sapphic. And it was free. I found like the free ebook online and I downloaded it to my Kindle. I'll get to it at some point. And speaking of sapphic romance novels, I also got one that's called Destination U and one that's called Crossing the Line by, I think it's J.J. Arias. Not much to say about that. Both of them are romance. They're supposed to be really spicy and they are sapphic. It's like age gap sapphic romance. I just felt like I needed more of that in my life, I guess. Sometimes I just enjoy a quick, easy, steamy romance. So there you go. So yeah, that's all of the books that I have gathered since my birthday back in October. It's about, I don't know, I can't really count. It's, I think it's about 30 books in 3 months. There are a couple more that are currently coming my way. I have ordered Uncanny by Junji Ito, which is supposedly, I think it's his memoir, which I can't wait to read. I am so excited about it. I can't wait to get my hands on it and read it. I also got Frankenstein by Junji Ito, which I've also already read, but I bought it for myself because there were some special discounts, and so I just ordered it because I thought, well, why not? And the last one that I have ordered and that hasn't arrived yet is this one horror manga called Ibitsu. I don't remember the author. I'll put it up on the screen here. I don't know anything about it other than it's a very, very creepy horror manga. I just will pick up any horror manga that I find. Pretty much. I am obsessed with horror manga. Leave your recommendations in the comments if you have any, please. I need more. Okay, so that's all for this book haul. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you're still here, I really appreciate you. Let me know, what's the most recent book that you've bought? And have you read it yet? Feel free also to leave a like and subscribe. I guess I will see you in my next video. So goodbye and Happy New Year!